Li Keqiang's cremation, CCP official media releases Xi Jinping's mourning video. Li Keqiang's wife and his daughter are currently under control. Out of control? Does the sudden death of Li Keqiang put Xi Jinping in a dilemma? Painting cakes to satisfy hunger? Xi convenes Central Financial Conference for Power Consolidation. Beijing's heavy hand in Hong Kong has added to China's economic woes. It's all covered in today's China Truths. Li Keqiang's cremation, CCP official media releases Xi Jinping's mourning video. On the morning of November 2nd, the remains of the former Chinese Premier Li Keqiang were cremated at the Beijing funeral parlor in Beijing. Authorities had sealed off the surrounding area, preventing the public from getting close. Many people had gathered to bid farewell to him, but access was restricted with the subway and roads closed off. Taiwanese media captured footage at the scene of a woman being driven away by 4 police officers and plainclothes policemen. On the same day, the national flag at Tiananmen Square was flown at half-mast. CCTV aired nationwide footage showing CCP leader Xi Jinping and his wife Peng Liyuan, along with the 7 members of the Politburo Standing Committee paying tribute to Li Keqiang's body. This footage is of particular interest to politically sensitive individuals who seek to glean insights into certain public suspicions and concerns. In the video, viewers noted that Li Keqiang's wife, Qing Hong, aside from her evident grief, did not display any additional expressions when shaking hands with Xi Jinping as he approached. On that day, former CCP National President Hu Jintao, while not physically present, expressed his condolences by sending a wreath. Apart from the high-ranking CCP leaders in attendance, some of Li Keqiang's close friends and representatives from his hometown also came to bid their farewells. Currently, there have been rumors and speculations about the cause of Li Keqiang's death, and the Chinese public has expressed doubts about the circumstances surrounding it. A former Xinhua news agency reporter, Gu Wanming, issued an open letter with his real name, calling for a thorough investigation into the cause of Li Keqiang's death. There are multiple theories circulating about the death of Li Keqiang. A new and unconventional theory has recently emerged from the public, with a netizen named Chu Shiqiang claiming that Li Keqiang was supposedly assassinated by the anti-Xi faction led by Xing Qinghong. According to this theory, they allegedly harnessed the influence of the original Shanghai clique and used high-voltage electricity at the swimming pool of the East Suburb guest house to electrocute Li Keqiang. The motive behind this act, as outlined in the theory, was that after the arrest of Su Jiayin, he revealed information about Xing Qinghong. The anti-Xi faction's goal was to channel public anger towards Xi Jinping, making him a scapegoat and sending a warning to the Xi faction to step back. This was seen as an attempt to create chaos and pressure Xi to step down, effectively carrying out this alleged murder. According to an online survey, 65% of the public leans towards believing that Li was deliberately killed, 15% think it might have been a natural death due to illness, and there are even suggestions that it could be related to new coronavirus infection. These various theories surrounding Li Keqiang's death are intricate and seem to have some validity, but they also raise questions. However, regardless of the specific speculations, they all highlight the turmoil within the Chinese Communist Party and its inability to align with the will and opinions of the people. Li Keqiang's wife and his daughter are currently under control. In recent days, Beijing has been enveloped in thick smog, leading to visibility dropping to less than 50 meters. These atmospheric conditions have coincided with escalating to frequent visits to specific locations. Authorities have become suspicious through Alipay transactions, asking why the sudden increase. Wang Xing also disclosed that fellow journalists who interview individuals familiar with Li Keqiang's family have started arranging meetings at coffee shops like Starbucks, adopting a more discreet approach, engaging in hushed conversations, and making swift exits. He added, Qing Hong is currently unable to make public statements, and even if she attempts to do so, she is closely monitored. Li Keqiang's daughter and Qing Hong herself are effectively under a form of soft detention. Additionally, As Keqiang is a doctoral advisor, her academic duties, including her research, have been temporarily suspended. It is advisable to avoid attempting to contact her. This information aligns with the official statement from Capital University of Economics and Business and has been communicated to the students. Keqiang is associated with the School of Foreign Languages at Capital University of Economics and Business, where she is a professor specializing in English teaching and research. Wang Xing revealed, Keqiang passed away at approximately 6 or 7 in the evening. Since universities typically have Fridays off, Keqiang was relocated by someone, as witnesses observed. Capital University of Economics and Business is situated near the Line 10 subway station, which is under the jurisdiction of the 7th Bureau. We had previously visited the area and indeed noticed a significant presence of police officers, most likely from the State Security Bureau. Out of control? Does the sudden death of Keqiang put Xi Jinping in a dilemma? Despite the cremation ceremony for former Premier Keqiang having occurred, observers believe that the country's instability won't stop there. They have pointed out that the situation is spiraling out of control for the CCP, and President Xi Jinping may face significant challenges beyond November 2nd. In an article on November 1st, veteran journalist Yan Chuango mentioned that he initially didn't believe Xi Jinping had any involvement in Keqiang's death. However, Xi's mindset differs from that of ordinary people, and a plausible scenario that cannot be dismissed is that she might have used Keqiang's death as a warning to high-ranking CCP officials. This could serve as a reminder that defying Xi could lead to repercussions, even after their retirement. Furthermore, another veteran journalist, Huang Qinglong, mentioned a pivotal point of observation, which is whether the authorities will permit the public to continue mourning after Keqiang's cremation on November 2nd. He believes this will be an indicator, and the upcoming days are crucial. Mr. Huang firmly believes that there are numerous enigmatic aspects surrounding Keqiang's death, but the authorities will never provide a convincing explanation. Consequently, public dissatisfaction is expected to persist, and Keqiang's death will forever cast a shadow and be a haunting issue for Xi Jinping. Mr. Yan Chuango concluded that the situation has spiraled out of control, leaving Xi Jinping in a dilemma. He is reluctant to see the situation escalate and is also hesitant to deploy the police for intervention. If Xi refrains from taking action, social sentiments may continue to spread, potentially escalating the situation and leading to a significant crisis. On the other hand, if Xi intervenes, it might backfire, amplifying public dissatisfaction and sparking larger waves of protests. The most perilous aspect is the accumulation of crises. With a struggling economy, widespread unemployment, simmering public discontent, a cash-strapped government, and challenges in maintaining stability, China resembles a powder keg waiting for a spark. Keqiang's death is seen as that spark. Mr. Yan Chuango believes that currently, Chinese citizens still have some savings to get by, and while the future appears bleak, a widespread uprising might not be imminent. However, even if smaller-scale social unrest occurs, it will continue to chip away at the CCP's strength, potentially leading to the collapse of Chinese society through successive waves of protests. Meanwhile, self-media personality Wen Zhao proposed that Keqiang's unexplained and sudden death sends a powerful signal. If the CCP can target a former premier, it implies even harsher treatment for ordinary citizens. Recognizing this, China may experience another wave of capital flight. Those who cannot escape may further adopt a lying flat approach, initiating an uncontrollable process. Painting cakes to satisfy hunger? Xi convenes Central Financial Conference for Power Consolidation. In light of China's sluggish economic recovery, the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, convened the Central Financial Work Conference in Beijing on October 30th, with a significant speech delivered by Chinese President Xi Jinping. He underscored the pivotal role of finance as the lifeblood of the national economy and a core component of the country's competitiveness. She acknowledged the intertwining challenges within the financial sector, characterized by hidden financial risks, low efficiency in serving the real economy, ongoing financial irregularities and corruption, and weak regulatory and governance capabilities. To address these issues, he called for comprehensive improvements in institutions, behavior, functions, penetrative oversight, and continuous monitoring, with the aim of eliminating regulatory gaps and enforcing the law rigorously. Wang He, a columnist for the Epoch Times, pointed out that the current financial crisis within the CCP is exceedingly severe, with the potential to erupt at any moment. Despite this precarious situation, the CCP is making grand promises, such as the Building a Financially Strong Nation initiative, which seems absurd given the impending collapse. The authorities are fully aware of the contradiction and the empty nature of these promises. Li Hengqing, an economist at the American Institute for Economic and Strategic Studies, noted that the CCP's approach of implementing strict regulation and centralizing authority raises several concerns. China's financial risks are escalating, with a systemic crisis already underway. They are facing the imminent threat of trillions in debt collapse. Furthermore, the CCP is attempting to address economic crises through political authoritarianism, which Li deems unfeasible. He further cited that the collapse of the Soviet Union has already demonstrated that planned socialism is not a viable path. Xi Jinping also emphasized the concept of high-level financial openness to attract foreign financial institutions and long-term investments to China. Regarding this, Mr. Wang He emphasized that finance in China is exclusive, with no fair market access system and tightly controlled financial licenses that favor privileged individuals and vested interests. This exclusivity has resulted in the exploitation of ordinary citizens, contributing to China's economic crisis and deepening social and economic inequalities. It also poses a threat to the CCP's rule. Moreover, the overall economic situation in China is dire, marked by a lack of trust in Xi Jinping and his new government. The new leadership team's lack of professional competence is at the root of China's financial chaos, leading to increasing risks. Paradoxically, the more control and regulation the CCP imposes, the greater the risks become. Mr. Li Hengqing argued that the CCP is taking a gamble, betting that the common people will not revolt, regardless of the hardships they endure. The outcome depends on the common people, and if they do not resist, there is little that can be done. Experts emphasize that the current situation in China involves ongoing crises in the real estate market and local debt, compounding risks within the financial industry. The CCP's policies are primarily aimed at preserving its political authority. Beijing's heavy hand in Hong Kong has added to China's economic woes. Mr. Milton Ezrati is a chief economist for Vested, a New York-based communications firm. In his article, Beijing's heavy hand in Hong Kong has added to China's economic woes, published November 2, Mr. Ezrati presented an analysis of how the economy of Hong Kong, the jewel of China, has been destroyed by the hand of Beijing. According to Mr. Ezrati, when Beijing's move on Hong Kong started, the result was entirely predictable and, in fact, was widely predicted. It should have been obvious to those who work in the Forbidden City that their heavy-handed tactics in Hong Kong would drive away the international business community that made the city such an economic and financial asset to China. Either the leadership of the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, did not know or did not care. Now, the evidence is clear. Business is leaving Hong Kong wholesale, and China is the loser. When, in 1997, Great Britain turned its former Hong Kong colony over to China, Beijing promised to keep the city much as it was. China's leadership talked of one country, two systems. It seemed like a reliable promise. Hong Kong was valuable as it was. Yet, a bit over 10 years later, Beijing moved forcefully to break that promise to the citizens of Hong Kong and the world. Moves to limit the civil liberties long enjoyed by Hong Kong residents elicited mass protests in 2019. Beijing put them down forcefully. Elements of the city's former status remain. Money still flows more freely in and out of the city than into and out of China, but the former security from Beijing's interference in business and daily life has disappeared. The city has accordingly lost its allure as a place to do business for not only foreigners but also for Chinese firms headquartered there. The evidence of economic harm has become increasingly clear. Western and Japanese businesses in Hong Kong began to leave the city almost immediately after Beijing showed its hand. According to Hong Kong's Census and Statistical Department, the number of regional headquarters maintained by foreign-based firms in the city dropped 2.4% in the first year after the protests were quelled. As of 2022, the most recent period for which the department offers data, the number has fallen almost 9% from its former level. American firms seem to have led the departure. By 2022, American firms with regional headquarters in Hong Kong had dropped some 30% from the peak. Executives report having trouble convincing valued employees to move to Hong Kong. And, of course, it is not just the Americans. Two Australian banks, Westpac and the National Australia Bank, have announced their intention to depart. Tellingly, they had vowed to stay after the protests to facilitate financial flows between Hong Kong and the rest of China. They no longer see the value. A large number of Canadian and European interests have also indicated their intention to leave. By the looks of the leaving list, it appears that the pace of departures is accelerating. It is certainly telling that foreign businesspeople traveling to Hong Kong are being advised to bring only burner electrical devices and otherwise wipe their electronics of data and apps. For a while, a flow of Chinese firms into Hong Kong offset the impact of foreign departures, but now, even that trend has dissipated. Since Hong Kong no longer serves as a channel through which China and the world interact and has simply become an extension of China, China-based businesses can no longer see the advantage of a regional headquarters or office in Hong Kong. They might as well stay centered in Shanghai, Beijing, or other Chinese business hubs. Most indicative of Hong Kong's fading glory is the behavior of its stock market. The market's total capitalization today stands at the equivalent of about $4 trillion, some 40% below its 2019 level. The flow of new listings has fallen from the equivalent of $52 billion in 2020 to a mere $3.5 billion so far this year. Daily turnover now hovers around $14 billion, down 40% from 2 years ago. The Hong Kong Exchange's owner, Keqiang, has seen its share value fall since 2021 and about 15% this year alone. The loss of Hong Kong as a world-class financial center and business hub can only hurt China's already beleaguered economy and precarious financial situation. Strangely, Beijing would destroy this jewel simply to gain a measure of overt political control that it was able to exert previously through covert means. But that has been the way of the CCP under Xi Jinping's leadership, even though it runs counter to the party's longer-term quest for global influence and economic hegemony. It is a classic case of losing a war in order to win a battle, but that seems to be the pattern under Mr. Xi. Don't forget to comment in the section below to share your opinions on today's topic with us. If you find the information helpful, please share this video with a friend to watch together. This will be a great source of motivation for our team to produce more and more quality and reliable videos. And also don't forget to like and subscribe to see more interesting topics from China Truths. Thank you for tuning in.